The next set of comsats are almost ready to go. The new antennas we researched have a much greater range. We need a little bit more science to unlock the ability to transmit power, though. I need you to head to Duna and get things that start with B. Blueberries, butterflies, bumblebees. The model I had been working on wasn't working. But it's okay, because now we have these nuclear engines. Bananas, boosters, the sound machine guns make bracka 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 bracka. Meanwhile, while you're away, I'll be making more comsats and researching new technologies for the future of our space program. Hot Hat, are you even listening? Huh? What? Oh, okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, blast off!
Welcome back, guys, to Space Patrol, a modded Kerbal Space Program adventure starring Hud Hat and Buzz, our intrepid, fearless explorers. We're out for another mission. Once again, Hud Hat is going to Duna, where we've previously sent probes. This will be our first mission to Duna. He went to Gilly previously, and while he's away, Buzz is going to be designing some new comsats. With the new antennas, we've got a new omnidirectional antenna, which has twice the range of the old one, so we can put some satellites in geosynchronous, which is the Kerbal version of geosynchronous. We're going to put those in some geosynchronous orbits, and that will prepare us to send probes even farther afield. And I've made a decision. I've made a change. Let me monitor. I saw over 100,000 up here, and that was a negative 100,000. Let's finish our orbits. Getting up to 70... Oh, we ran out of fuel. Okay. Okay, let's just get up to where we're in orbit, almost. Anything above 70K. Okay, that's good. It's not circular. Let me get up to 71. All right, that's good. Let's kill this. Not circular, but that's all right. It's not that big a deal. Okay, so this is our vessel, and I've made a decision for the series. I am no longer going to be time acceleration. That's not a verb. Time accelerationing. I'm not going to use time acceleration on voyages between planets. At least I'm going to limit my use of it. So we're going to Duna. And you can see Duna has probes which are communicating with us. This is the range of the cone of their dish, how far it can reach. We're going to Duna, and it's going to take a while to get there, and I'm not going to just time accelerate to get there and back. We're already like 4 years into our adventure here in the Space Patrol, and we haven't really done that many missions for 4 years. So I'm not going to time accelerate between planets. While Hud Hat is gone, Buzz is going to be doing things like putting satellites in orbit. I will still do small time accelerates for maybe, a week up to a time. Something like that. But I would like to have more missions going at once. I would like to have things going to and from different locations, instead of just one mission going at any one time. So we're going to up the overall complexity, the activity of our space program set as target. So what we're going to do today, what Hud Hat's going to do today, is he's going to blast off for Duna, and we're going to get an encounter, hopefully, which shouldn't be that hard because Duna is on the same inclination as Kerbin. You can see that yellow line is overlapping with our orbit, and with the Mun, which is also on a flat inclination, and also with our satellites, which are also on that 0-degree inclination. Okay, so we need to go out system. So we need to blast off on the dark side of the planet right about there-ish. Something like that. Okay. Let's see. We basically want... Yeah, okay, good. I don't want the orbit going off diagonally on either direction. So this is, if it was, that would mean we had an inefficient burn, and it would have taken a lot of delta V. All right, so if we come out to here, let's see, where's our target? Can we see it? Oh, look at that. Duna periapsis, 21 million meters. There we go. Okay, there's our, there it is. There it is. Duna periapsis, 21 million meters. Let's see if we can tweak it. That, I think, made it increase. 21,561, and then we lost it. Whoa, okay, so that's a very small window. There we go. 6 million meters. 5.6. 2 million. 1.9. And then, where's the number? Did we lose it? 3 million, okay. I think where it was, that lower number, 1.5 million-ish is pretty good. 1.4, what if I click the triangles? 1.5. 1.5. Our inclination should be fine. 1.4, okay, that's good enough. I think that's fine. Let's go ahead and rotate around. So one of the things we unlocked recently are the nuclear engines. Not only are we going to Duna to do the Explore Duna contract, we have a perform aerial survey of Duna contract right there. And let me get around to our target. And then we'll time accelerate around the planet. So we need to fly over 4 of these sites. My original idea was to use Infernal Robotics and to put a space plane under a shroud, kind of like we did with this. Only the nose of the thing fit. I couldn't contain the entire thing in a fairing. But I wanted to use Infernal Robotics and have this shuttle with wings that unfolded and have like some really complicated stuff. And I spent like 5 or 6 hours working on the thing. And Infernal Robotics, the current version of it, just appears to be kind of buggy. So I had to scrap the whole idea. It kept shifting positions and values, like it wouldn't maintain the settings I set for it. So I had to scrap that idea. So instead, we're going to bounce around with some nuclear engines that are asparagus staged. Let's see, we have 8 minutes counting down. So the contract we have, and once we do our burn, I will switch to where we're looking at Duna so you can see what it looks like. And let's see, we've got 6 minutes, and we need to start at about 2 minutes out, or 1 minute out. This contract is added by the fine print mod, and so that adds a whole bunch of different stuff, which actually was just integrated with the 0.90 version. Kerbal Space Program has officially updated to beta, which is awesome. There's upgradable. I think the coolest thing, in my opinion, is that now not only can you advance down a tech tree, but you upgrade your buildings. You start out with really small, dinky little buildings, and you upgrade them over time. I would really like to play around with that. This series is not going to feature that. It would be very hard to update every single mod. Maybe eventually down the road we will. But I would not expect that to happen. Usually when you start these big modded series, you're left in the patch you started in for all eternity. But I would like to play around with that. It's very exciting to have Kerbal Space Program in beta now. Basically everything they add to the game, I think, is just fantastic. They've done a very good job. Okay, we need to start, let me get back on target. We need to start firing at about, how's our electrical charge? Doing fine. We need to start firing right now. There we go. And we can go ahead and deploy our solar panels and turn on some lights. We're on the dark side of the planet. May as well. They're not doing the most fantastic job of lighting things up. Maybe I should have put a few more on there. But we've unlocked the new solar panels and the nuclear engines. That's going to give us a lot of efficiency. The nuclear engines will. And we can soak up lots of power with these huge solar panels, which are my favorite because they look awesome. We also have some smaller ones. And let's take a look at how our burn is doing. Okay, they're freaking out. They're freaking out over something. And our engines, important to note, they're not overheating because we're not using the nuclear ones yet. They are prone to overheating. We're using this, I used this one on the Gilly mission too, this KW Rocketry Vesta. VR90. So the primary mission for this, or the primary goal for this mission is to get enough science to unlock the parts of the tech tree so that we can start beaming power as well as communication. So our comsats are letting our probes communicate with Kerbin far away. But I want to beam power around so we can use the more efficient super engines to go to Minmus and the moon to get all the science. It allows us to bounce around all the different biomes. Alright, how did we do? How did we do? Where's our encounter? Do we have it? We don't. Okay, let's not just burn without thinking about it. But that'll get us very close. Maybe with just a small adjustment, we can fix it. Where's Duna? Duna's right here. So let me show you the spots we will have to bounce around to. These are the 4 spots that we have to fly over. It just says fly over from an altitude of 8,600 to 14,700 meters. I don't know how long we have to be floating in that space, and we don't have a space plane, so we won't be technically gliding. Hopefully it'll be okay though. Okay, let's go back here. Okay, don't set that as target. We need to do a small addition, and for whatever reason that's very bright. That must be planet shine reflecting light or something. I'm not sure why it's that bright. It shouldn't be that bright. But our maneuver is in 23 minutes. It's only 5.8 meters per second. Then we'll turn the SAS off and we'll say goodbye to Hudad for a little while he's twiddling his thumbs, playing his Game Boy maybe. in between the stars and the planets, in between the planets. There goes Kerbin, warping away. Goodbye, Kerbin. We'll see you again in probably a few years. Okay, here we go. -1 minute and 33. It's only a burn of 5.8 meters per second, so it'll go pretty quickly. And if we don't get it exactly on the nose, that's fine. I will just do an adjustment as we get closer. Here we go. And burning. Boops. No, wrong button. Crap. I hit Z instead of X. Oh, dang it. We lost it. Okay. Well, let me just turn around to prograde and burn very gently. Wow, that button is dangerous. The new Z function. Hit the Z button and you go to full throttle. Oh my gosh. So if I just feather this for a few meters per second, we should be able to get back on course. Okay. Feathering. Feathering. Okay, they're close. Okay, what are we at? Oh, awesome. 1.7 million meters. Okay, turn off SAS. So that, let's see, how long is it going to take us to get out here? We are still within the sphere of influence of Kerbin. 230 days to get over there. 230 days. So we will take up this mission. We will pick up with it on a future mission. Let me turn out the lights so we don't waste electric charge. We should be in view of the sun the entire time, but there's no need to tempt fate. He's got plenty of electrical charge. He's got plenty of waste heat capacity. There are some radiators right here. Very small ones, but you don't need very big ones. At least not for this guy. That's not going to generate much heat with these old traditional rockets. The very efficient nuclear engines, which we shall land on the planet with. Okay, so have fun, Hud Hat. We'll see you in a few episodes. So I've had some requests to show some shipbuilding in the episode, so I decided to add a little bit of that in this episode. We're going to make some new comsats, and I thought we'd start by looking at the tech tree and talk about the next few steps. The next few steps in our plan. So the next thing I want to get is specialized electrics, this node right here. We're going to be getting the phased array microwave transceiver and the microwave beamed power receiver. What these are going to let us do is basically, instead of just using comsats to send information, our communications back and forth, we're going to also be able to beam power. Recently, we unlocked these guys, these electric generators, and we're going to need to put a bunch of these in space, a big satellite with them, with some heat radiators because they generate heat, and then we're going to put up a bunch of microwave transceivers, a network of them, kind of like we did with the comsats, so they can beam power, so that we can use, if I can find them, I haven't researched yet, so we can use these, the plasma thrusters. They have a variety of different fuels they can take. The more advanced fuels are harder to get, as far as I know. I'm not super up to date on how these work. But you can see all of their thrust is listed in a very small number per megawatt. So we're going to put a transceiver on these guys and beam power to them with our network. They're going to be hugely efficient. 11,000 ISP for the first one. That's very good. But we're going to have to beam power at them for them to be worth anything, worth a damn. And once we have that system up in place, we should be able to bounce around the moon and Minmus with very efficient engines and pick up lots of science to explore more stuff. So that's the idea. First thing we need to do is make some comsats with the new antennas we've got. So they're going to be similar to the last ones. We're going to use this same probe core, and I'm going to put a larger fuel tank on it. Come on, click it, move it. Larger fuel tank, because not only is it going to be in a much higher orbit, we're going to put it in geosynchronous orbit, or, geosynchronous, the Kerbal version of geosynchronous. I also want it to be heavier, so it has a lower thrust to weight ratio. So when we're doing these burns, to adjust the orbit to get it as precise as possible, and I set the engine down to 5%, we should be able to get it very close. So that's the first step, engine and rocket. So the basic components, we're going to need batteries. And I'm going to put the big batteries. Let's just have a system of like our parts here. Batteries don't need lights, because we're barely ever going to pay attention to them. I'm going to put these huge solar panels on them, because they look awesome. We may not need that much power, although the radar dishes do use a lot, so let's go ahead and do that. We're gonna need some radiators. These ones should probably be fine. Then we're gonna need some antennas. We were using the Communotron 16s, which have a range of 2,500 kilometers. The 32s we used previously have a range of 5,000 kilometers, much larger. And instead of using the Communotron 8888 dish, which can beam information all the way to Duna, we are going to use the KR-14, which can reach all the way to Drace. And if you're on the same side of the orbit, same side of the sun, you can hit Joule with these. As long as you're on the same side, that's how I understand it. So we're going to have one of these is going to be pointed at, I guess if we're in geosynchronous orbit, they don't have to be pointed at the Space Center. But we're going to have one at active vessel, and then we're going to have maybe two others. So I'm going to use 3 times symmetry here. One at active vessel, one at maybe Drace, and maybe one at Duna. So we'll have like a network of those planets. And then we've got to fit these other parts on there. If I put the solar panels here, we're not really going to have enough space. So let's see, what do we have sort of construction-y type stuff? We haven't unlocked a lot of the better construction stuff, so let's just put these guys on here. And then let's grab the solar panels again. That should give us a nice amount of room for those. Good. Nice. There's some overlap there, but that's okay. Okay, and then these guys can go kind of like that. So each of those, how much electric charge does that give us? 1,200, 3,600 electric charge for this. I think that'll be all right. And then we need to fit on the radiators somewhere. That's fine. And then this guy. This guy we will put right about here, and we only need one, so I'm going to hit Alt-X to cancel our multiplication factor back down to 1. And let's make it look nice so it doesn't overlap that guy. Good. Okay, that's nice. I think that is functional. So we're going to need 4 of those around the planet, and then I think what I'm going to do is add a 5th one that I'm going to put in a polar orbit, so we can, for one thing, we could, for instance, send something to the North Pole or the South Pole. We could send a probe up there to get some science, because there's a lot of biomes on Kerbin I often ignore. Or we could have it be in a extremely elliptical orbit. I'm going to hit Alt, by the way. Alt-click here to copy that. Hey, copy the whole thing. Oh, you can't because I'm copying. I clicked on the original part. Okay, you can't copy the original part. So if I alt-click the part below it, we can copy the rest of that probe. Okay, so 2 probes. What was I talking about? Let's see, we need some struts here because it's going to be very wobbly getting into orbit. Okay, this is all shifty, being weird. And let's make sure we have ×3 symmetry. Oh, wait, I already placed it when I switched that. There we go. Okay. Good. Something like that. So we've got a 3rd probe down there. So I'm going to alt-click, and now I just copied 2 more. And it did not copy the strut, because the strut is not on the top version. So this guy needs some struts. Good. Okay, so that is 4 of them. So let's add a 5th one. There's a probe core on the bottom of there. And that's a lot of stuff, but it's actually not going to be that heavy. Let me take off that probe core and that decoupler. Good. Okay, 5 satellites, and we'll need to separate those. And then we're going to put a huge fairing around them, which is in the... Is it in the... Yeah, aerodynamic stuff. So I've unlocked, I think these are all of them. 3.75 meter fairing base. Oh. We don't need 3, we just need 1. Is that going to work? Let's see if that works. 3.5. Fairing code 3rd, okay? And they start kind of backwards. I don't know why they start like that. That's not big enough. Okay, we need the absolute biggest fairing, because this one isn't tall enough. So let's grab this guy. There we go. And then we'll need 3.75 meter expanded fairing code 3rd. Okay, nice. That is definitely tall enough. And then we'll need that. And then that attaches to the top. And then we can alt-click him. Whoop, come on. Like that. Sweet. So that's the payload for our next mission to supplant our original ComSat network with an upgraded set. And I'll probably leave the old ones in orbit, because why not? Redundancy never hurts anything. And that's what we're going to do next time. Hope you enjoyed the video. Leave your comments below. Any suggestions you have if you're familiar with mods. Any questions you have if you're not. Hope you're enjoying the videos. See you later, guys. Stay tuned for more Space Patrol. Bye-bye.